If you're the Indiana Pacers, looking back at that game one, they had it in their hands, and they let it slip away. How do you recover from something like that?
It's tough. It's tough, but you'd rather it happen in game one than later in the series, right? And I think the biggest thing that the Pacers can take from this game, going into a hostile environment like Boston, is obviously there's never any moral victories, but they know that they can play with them. You know, they played a great game. Obviously, down the stretch, they made some costly plays,
right.
But at the end of the day, they know that they're more than capable of playing with this team.
I have sat in Boston Garden, old and new, for some endings like that. It's like that's the only place that can happen.
Right.
I mean, I was courtside for Bird stole the ball over to DJ, DJ lays it in.
A little while ago.
A little while ago. It means I'm old.
No.
But it's just amazing that these things happen historically in that place. And after the other team, it was the Pistons once upon a time,
yep.
And now it's the Pacers. They play so well, Chris. I know we're all watching that, as Malika said, thinking, okay, let's project now. The Pacers are going to be one up in this series, playing with real house money going into game two in Boston. And then, but so let me wonder the opposite. Does this shake the Celtics at all?
I don't think it shakes the Celtics up or anything like that, because you just want to survive in advance, right? At the end of the day, this is one win,
right.
Which you want as the home team. But if you're the Pacers, the biggest thing that I'm worried about right now, not worried about, but it's just the locker room, right? Those guys know that they gave away a game. Haliburton will know and understand the mistakes that he may have made, but the other guys in his locker room got to make sure they're in his ear. Mm-hmm. They got to pick him up. You got to have guys to lean on so that you bounce back.
I feel for Tyrese Haliburton, who's had a tremendous season and then recovered from a hamstring injury to have an uptick on his postseason to get his team this far, lead them this far to the conference finals, and now a new challenge, a different kind of challenge. But I know as somebody who's been in the league a long time, the kind of challenge you have to overcome to become a finalist.
When you're watching the Boston Celtics, do you feel better or worse after watching one of the first real, true, down-to-the-wire games, tests that they've had this postseason?
Malika, that's a great question. And you know what? I don't feel great about them. I don't know that they're reliable in situations that a championship team is reliable in. They had what we thought was control of the game, except they didn't. So what now?
We could have been speaking very differently about the final few minutes that Jayson Tatum had before he hit that all-important three. Before really, I mean, Jaylen Brown sent it to overtime. He was struggling, and the conversation all of us were having, you know, back in the side room changed very quickly after the Celtics started becoming the team we expect them to be.
Reminds me of conversations we were having in 2022 sitting in that gym.
So is he ready?
It still has to be answered, right?
Listen, he's ready. And my thing is, of course, when you're talking about sports, barbershop anywhere, it's always this could have happened, this should have happened, would have happened. At the end of the day, the Boston Celtics are happy. They are up 1-0.
Yeah.
Right? It's so hard to win a game in a playoff series. So I always say, you go to the tape, you learn, you see what you did right, you see what you did wrong, but you like to win and learn at the same time. Right. You don't want to lose and have to learn your lesson. They won, so I'm sure they're happy and ready to figure out game two.
And figure it out, they will need to. The Boston Celtics up 1-0 in this series. Game two, it all goes down tonight. So the Celtics, they've lost 3 consecutive game twos. All in games they were favored, right, by double digits. Boston's going to try to break that trend, break that streak tonight because they're 8.5-point favorites. And we're just over 4.5 hours away from tip-off of game two. As we discussed the stars already, Chiney, let's look at some X factors. Who do you have your eye on?
Let's go X factor. There were unsung heroes for both teams in game one. For the Celtics, so many people focus on the Jays, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, but people forget there's another Jay with a ring on his finger, Drew Holiday. Thank you. They are the trio, the only trio in Celtics history to drop 25 each this late in the playoffs. So this is my new motto. Let's take it to the court. All right, so watch Drew Holiday. So Jaylen Brown was cooking so much before that double clutch three that he draws 2. He had 26 on the night, but Drew Holiday is an opportunistic scorer that knows how to move without the basketball. He has great experience. Drew Holiday had 28. People sleep on that. It was a quiet 28, but very impactful. Now, we all know his defense, that turnover late that he forced, but earlier he was locked in on Tyrese Haliburton. That's his matchup. He he stays with him, but he's able to read Nesmith as he attacks, draws a charge. Nesmith actually fouled out of the game, and so that was impactful because he was the one that had the clamps on Jayson Tatum. So the Celtics, they are known for their defense. The Pacers, though, not so much. But their secret weapon on that end is Miles Turner. You know how we say 3-and-D?
Yep.
Well, centers have entered the 3-and-D chat. He's the only player this postseason with both 25 three-pointers and 25 blocks. So again, let's take it to the court. So here, I just love how he moves on offense. He was in the corner, but then he moves without the ball. He reads the move right here. How many times do you see centers that are able to hit step-back threes like this? He was on one. But more importantly, they need him the most defensively. If you watch this right here, he's on the weak side. He's a great help defender. They commit 2 here. This typically could be a lob dunk, but I don't know how he sees this. With his left hand, he's able to strip the ball with Cornet. So it's not just the blocks and the rim protection. It's his ability to guard 2 players at once. Those 2 guys were truly the unsung heroes.
They need his offensive contributions as well, right? He had 18 in the first, only took 3 shots in the second half in OT, so maybe getting a little more from all game long, right, Chiney? So that's who you're looking at. Let's bring Brian Windhorst back into the conversation. Brian, who's the key for you? What are you watching in this matchup tonight?
Yeah, so to me, this game, even though the Celtics won it, this was a Pacers game. And what I mean by that is it was played at the Pacers' pace. It was played at the Pacers' style. The Celtics had to adapt to the way the Pacers played. I could just give you one stat. They took 99 shots and had 22 turnovers. That means they had something like 125-ish possessions. That's crazy, okay? So that happened in the last series, too, against the Knicks. Despite the Knicks getting ahead in that series multiple times, they were always playing Pacer basketball. And I'm telling you, over the long haul, guess who wins Pacer basketball? The Pacers. So let's see tonight how the game is played. Is this going to be a Pacer game? Or is this going to be a Celtic game? The Celtics are one of the top 2 defensive teams in the league. They are a 3-point shooting team. They crush their opposition with 3-point shots.
No true surprises here on the first team with these selections. 4 of the 5 names from last year, they made the first team again. The only thing that's a little different, MVP Nikola Jokic replacing last year's MVP Joel Embiid. There's some major financial implications for Luka, SGA. Both now are eligible for Supermax contract extensions. And then Anthony Edwards can also earn an extra $41 million thanks to making his first career All-NBA team. And then you see Jalen Brunson. He became the first Knicks guard to make the All-NBA. That is since Clyde Frazier in '75. So that's the second team right there. And then LeBron James leads the third team. If you're wondering what those numbers underneath were, that's how many times they've been selected to an All-NBA team. Look at LeBron there. 20 times, 5 more than any other player in NBA history. He was the youngest player ever to be named to an All-NBA team. That was back in 2004, 2005. And now he has the accolade of being the oldest player to do so at 39, but he's not playing like it. Tyrese Haliburton, he joins LeBron on third team. He's also looking at a pay raise of about $41 million with this selection. But our Adrian Wojnarowski tells us this is just one more important step in a journey that the Pacers guard is currently embarking on.
The Kings trading talented young guard Tyrese Haliburton for the Pacers.
It hurt when I got traded. It definitely caught me by surprise. I thought it was a joke.
In the hours after the Sacramento Kings traded a disconsolate Tyrese Haliburton to the Indiana Pacers, general manager Chad Buchanan called and told him simply, this is your team, your organization. There are murals of Reggie Miller all over town. Someday, we want that to be you. Someday came faster than anyone could have imagined. At 24 years old, Haliburton's been one of the season's supernovas.
Haliburton for 3! Stop Tyrese Haliburton, the ascending superstar.
U.S. Olympic team, All-NBA, max contract. He dusted the Milwaukee Bucks and Dame Lillard out of the in-season tournament Final Four in Vegas.
Tries another 3. Bang! Tyrese Haliburton from downtown.
I know what time it is.
And then out of the Eastern Conference playoffs, too. With a nod to Reggie, he delivered a Game 7 victory over the Knicks in Madison Square Garden.
Ah! Come on! Come on!
Those get you murals. But Haliburton has a chance to play for statues, trophies. Those are hard. And so is slaying the Celtics in the TD Bank Garden. One moment you've got him.
Oh, he banks it in at the buzzer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The way a young Isaiah and Magic thought they had him. The next, the Garden's Leprechauns descend on you too. Down 1-0 in these Eastern Conference Finals, no one will remember Haliburton's 25 points and 10 assists. They'll remember the disjointed end of regulation and overtime, the collapse. They told Tyrese Haliburton that these Pacers would belong to him, and they do, in triumph and anguish. That's the job. That's the journey.
We're winning the game right now!
This is the rite of playoff passage. Game 2, tonight.